Huge update. The Republicans of the House Judiciary Committee just had a hearing to advance the right to carry nationwide. For only cops? Yeah, we're gonna need you to help us teach these politicians a lesson. The Second Amendment protects the right of the people. It's not a special privilege for special enlightened government employees. Hi, I'm Ben, and you're watching the Minuteman Moment. Before we get into this expansion of gun privileges for law enforcement that Republicans are pushing, we should make one thing clear. There are a ton of rank-and-file cops, sheriff, and other law enforcement officers who support the Second Amendment. These constitutionally minded police officers understand they don't deserve special privileges and that the Second Amendment applies to every American. So from every gun owner to you constitutionally minded law enforcement out there, thank you for being a Second Amendment advocate. Unfortunately, it's unelected police leadership, like city police chiefs who are appointed by anti-gun mayors, who don't believe what our founding fathers enshrined in the Second Amendment. And that's what brings us right to today's hearing, where every big law enforcement lobby has endorsed a bill to give police special national gun privileges that they deny to you or me. You see, back in 2004, Congress enacted the Law Enforcement Officer Safety Act, or LEOSA, which created a national carry permit for police and retired law enforcement. Even sheriffs from rural towns could carry in New York City and Los Angeles according to this law. Keep in mind, this was before the Heller or Bruin decisions, so many people did not have the right to carry whatsoever in many states. But the law didn't grant you or me a special carry permit, and we don't want a national permit to carry from the federal government, with all the absurd licensing and requirements and gun control that's sure to follow. We want national concealed carry reciprocity for our licenses, and the Second Amendment says that the people have a constitutional right to carry nationwide. But LEOSA split gun owners from police who like to carry, and anti-gunners have used that divide to block national reciprocity ever since. And now, the week before Police Week 2024, the House Judiciary Committee moved a bill to expand LEOSA to make some reforms. H.R. 354, the LEOSA Reform Act, lets the national permit holders carry in all kinds of places that everyone should be able to, like inside buildings in national parks, inside low security or public federal buildings, in schools with a special exemption to the unconstitutional Gun-Free School Zones Act. Basically, H.R. 354 should literally be an exemption to anyone with constitutional carry or a permit, not a specific police privilege. And that's exactly what the best members of the Judiciary Committee told leadership.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to support this bill, but reluctantly so. I mean, we should not just extend these or acknowledge these rights for law enforcement officers. Every individual in America who's not a criminal should be afforded these rights.
Thank you, Representative Massey, for pointing out that the Second Amendment applies to every American nationwide, not just police with a special national carry permit. But of course, some Democrats hate firearms so much they don't even want cops to carry them. Check out this jaw dropper from Representative Jerry Nadler, where he reads the people right out of the Second Amendment.
The Second Amendment reads, quote, "A well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state, comma, the right to bear arms shall not be infringed."
It's outrageous. He just rewrote the Second Amendment so he could pretend it's all about the right of a state to keep an organized state militia. Well, Representative Thomas Massey jumped in and corrected Nadler, reminding him that the Second Amendment includes the words and applies to the people and not just elite classes like police or an organized state militia.
Apologies to Ranking Member Nadler if this isn't what he stated, but I think he might have left out some key words when he read the Second Amendment, and I'll read it here. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And I'm not sure if I heard him say the people, which applies to all of the people, as we well know, and I yield back.
Republicans truly don't deserve Representative Thomas Massey. But the smackdown didn't end there. Representative Armstrong came in with a combo punch. He basically explained that if the Second Amendment only applies to muskets, then the First Amendment only applies to the printing press.
And I also just find it massively interesting that we don't apply the Second Amendment or the First Amendment in the same way we apply the Second Amendment. They're right next to each other in the Bill of Rights. You can't have the most narrow possible reading of the Second Amendment and the most broad reading of the First Amendment. Because if we did that, if we applied the Second Amendment analysis that a lot of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle would like to apply, and we applied that to the First Amendment, the only thing that would be protected were printing presses. Like, you can't have a different analysis of two amendments in the Bill of Rights that are right next to each other. You either have to agree that they adapt and modify to common times, or they don't. But you can't say the Second Amendment doesn't adapt to modern times, but the First Amendment does. And that is functionally what we have done, and we continue to do in this process, and it's fascinatingly intellectually dishonest.
Anti-gunners can't have it both ways, and Representative Armstrong was totally right. Representative Massey really hit it out of the park, though, with this conclusion of his speech.
I support the bill, but the problem is, here we are carving out special rights for people that carry a badge, when in fact these are rights that were enshrined, protected, given to us by God, but protected by our founding fathers in the Constitution, a document that we've sworn an oath to defend and uphold. So I will just close by saying I'll support the bill, but we need legislation that goes further to state what is inherent in the Constitution. I yield back.
Thank you, Congressman. Now, at the end of the markup, the LEOSA Reform Act passed out of committee, and Chairman Jordan said it's likely to get a vote on the House floor next week. So the real question for gun owners is, when will we get nationwide constitutional carry? Please pick up the phone and ask your congressman whether a Republican-controlled House is voting on expanding special privileges for police officers and not to restore your Second Amendment right to carry. Tell them to set a date for a hearing and a vote on H.R. 38, the National Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act. As a bonus, maybe give the Judiciary Committee or Speaker Johnson a call too and ask what the plan is. Every phone call you make gives our team on the ground in Washington, D.C. ammunition to fight for the Second Amendment. So thank you for being an advocate for your own rights and helping us fight the swamp. Be sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date with the latest fights for your rights. Also, be sure to check out goals.gunowners.org to learn more about the Gun Owners Advocacy and Leadership Summit in Knoxville on August 17th and 18th. Admission is free for GOA members, so I hope to see all of you there.